everybody. Welcome to another MoGraph podcast. I'm your host, Matt Milstead. Joining me this week from Profanity Creative, Mr. Mark Cernosia.
Hello, hello.
And I want to start the show by giving a big shout out to our universal sponsor, Otoy. You know them, you love them. They're the makers of Octane Render and the Render Network. With Octane, you can create super photorealistic renders incredibly fast. And for those renders that need the little extra push of power, the Render Network has you covered. They can render your Octane, Redshift, and Blender cycles frames in a fraction of the time and the fraction of the cost of other cloud rendering services. RenderCon is coming up, which is going to be fun. It's in less than a month. So make sure and grab your tickets. I'm supposed to have a code here coming to me. So if you haven't grabbed your ticket, email me. And if you're still wanting to get a ticket, and I'll see what I can do, because I think we're supposed to have a code for everyone coming up soon. But yeah, make sure and give Otoy and the Render Network a big shout and say thanks for hosting or for sponsoring all things MoGraph.com. But we're here to talk to you, Mark. It's been a while since I've had you on the show, ever since,
it has been, yes.
You and I both left camp and let Dave take it all over. It's kind of like we haven't, and I started working full time at ABC. We haven't really talked much to each other. It's pretty crazy. I feel like we haven't seen each other in forever.
Yeah, this last year has been pretty crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
To say the least.
How's business been
Times
for you?
are a-changing.
I'd love to know that.
What's that?
How's business been?
Sorry.
Now that you're like you stepped away from camp, you're able to put all your focus in Profanity Creative. How are things been going since then?
Last year was super crazy.
Yeah.
Obviously we've all seen signs of the times and lots of change in the recent years, but doing a lot of direct to client work in like the outdoor space and action sports space and through products, the whole kind of political landscape and tariffs and all that really threw that whole industry for a loop because most people source from there. And so, so that pretty much ground business to a halt. I should say business in like marketing. A lot of companies were taking marketing dollars to pay tariffs. So it was really interesting. And I never thought as an animator I'd be paying attention to like macroeconomics, but here I was listening to CFOs talk about how they were dealing with things, because in my head was if I could listen to that and I could be informed with what those decisions were, I would be a little bit more prepared with things that might come down the line or may not come down the line in terms of marketing projects and stuff like that. So the last year was pretty wild. I ended up kind of freelancing with a bunch of studios as well, just to kind of, keep the money coming in and the lights on here. Shout out to Sibling Rivalry in Los York.
Nice.
Like, two great studios. And so, last year was super weird, but up until pretty much Q4, like at the end of Q3, beginning of Q4, I ran my numbers and I was 40% down from the year before. And so a little bit of panic set in.
Yeah.
But then Q4 spend started coming through and working really long 18-hour days for 3 months was not what I wanted to do, but it made up some ground, and I ended up pretty much flat on the year like I was the year before. So
not bad.
It was a grind to essentially stay normal.
Yeah.
But since then it's been great. Q1's been pretty good. A lot of CES stuff came through.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, I think it's just a changing landscape, like I mentioned before. And, it's just one of those things where I got to be able to pivot or, not be too proud to jump into a project with another studio or whatever. It's like we're all doing this together, and, we're all trying to essentially keep our careers going. So
yeah, for sure. Seriously. Are you I know you've been C4D and Houdini. Are you mostly Houdini nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, yes, and I mean, I'm still bouncing between
Yeah,
everything really, but I mean, Houdini's just so powerful, and getting faster in it, but like C4D is still, a main tool that a lot of these studios are using. I
interesting.
mean, we worked on a Sphere job that had C4D elements.
Uh-huh.
We worked on like a Houdini stuff for that Sphere job. So like you gotta kind of use both,
Yeah.
but I have really just enjoyed working with Houdini where like you essentially can set up your whole project and all your shots in various node groups, and
Yeah.
you really can kind of see the whole project right there in front of you, whereas
Yeah.
in cinema you're twirling down stuff and things are hidden and yada yada. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it's pretty incredible
Yeah.
software.
Yeah, especially with the like doing takes specifically, like creating multiple ROPs and stuff like that, and being able to say what you want to see, what you don't. That's really nice being able to keep it all in one place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. And like the thing I also love about just Houdini 2 is just so much automation that can kind of
yeah,
happen with it, like just wedging and all that type of stuff. And um, yeah, I kind of feel like that's a great way for us artists to, do similar things to like an AI type
yeah,
production workflow where
yeah,
it's like, hey, here's 10 smoke sims, client, choose the one you want, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
So stuff like that.
Yeah, I've especially with the talking about the AI workflow stuff. I've used the Otoy's new Canvas stuff a lot,
Hmm.
and because it's node based and things, like I really like that because you're able to go back and mess with things again and reference other things versus like a completely destructive way of doing it where it's like, okay, I generate my image, now I bring this into a whole nother thing. I know
Hmm.
Weavy is a big one as well. They're done by Figma, I believe.
Yeah.
They got bought by
Yeah.
Figma, and theirs is all node based as well. And the thing that I
Totally.
like about some of these node based ones is that you've got the seed open to you. So it's like
Hmm.
if you need to go back, it's not just a slot machine over and over again. You're able to reproduce the exact same thing over and over again with the same seed.
Yep. 100%. And honestly, it's funny how like the node workflow, like I started using that back in like DaVinci Resolve and stuff, like trying to do color correction. And I was like, oh, the nodes kind of stack and you do this thing. Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. And then it was Houdini. And then all of a sudden it's like Comfy UI. And it's like, oh, to me, it just makes so much sense because it's essentially a mind map of all your decisions, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so, and like what you said too, like just being able to play with the seed and generate lots of different outcomes, but in the same style,
Yeah.
essentially, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, that I mean, I was happy to kind of jump into Comfy and really like start understanding that, and then like when all the online stuff started happening,
Mm-hmm.
like Weavy and there's Cursor and a bunch of stuff too,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, cool, like I don't have to run this locally. Like I
Yeah.
can, throw it up to the cloud and get faster results. But
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
I have messed around with Comfy a little bit. I
Hmm.
installed it, and then I do like that the things like Nano Banana and all the Gemini VO stuff. It's in there as nodes, and it's a whole lot more. It's a whole lot easier to like get results from those than it is from creating an entire Comfy UI
Yeah,
using the
yeah,
free
yeah,
nodes and
totally.
stuff like that. But it's like we pay for Higgsfield, which I think is super powerful. Have you messed with Higgsfield at all?
Just a little bit, not too much.
Yeah, so it's one of those ones where it's like, oh, you can have all the apps for a small amount of money per month or something like that.
Hmm.
So you get the Nano Banana Pro, you get Higgsfield, which is their video one, and then they've got Higgsfield like Cinema Studio, which is pretty cool. We've messed around with it a bit where, you can create a prompt and stuff like that. And then it'll give you additional, like it'll guess what the next shot is going to be. So
Mm.
sometimes it actually like really pays off. It's like, okay, I want this to happen. And it's like, okay, cool. Wide shot, now close up. And it's like, oh, okay, that worked pretty well.
Yeah. That's it's funny you say that because I was thinking about this the other day. I was playing around with VO or whatever, the
Yeah.
whatever's in Gemini there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's interesting, like, yeah, you can prompt your shot if you know, like, if you know exactly what you want, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you're going in, you're like, this is what I want, like this lens choice, whatever, camera movement, yada yada. But the thing that I'm finding a little interesting with that is, as someone who used to like shoot video and make movies,
Mm-hmm.
for funsies more or less, but
Yeah.
like, um, you don't have happy accidents if you are planning every single thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like part of the filmmaking process for me was like the thing that happened after the cut,
For sure.
right? Or like the improv that happened. And so it's like, when you're having to stay so narrowly focused and like
Mm-hmm.
prompt exactly what you need, like 100%, that's very cool and it has its use case. But I feel like as the creative in charge of that,
Mm-hmm.
it's you don't really have those accidents or those whoops or those mistakes that you're
Yeah.
like, oh dang, that lens flare looks great, I didn't intend that, but
Yeah.
awesome. And so like playing around with something like what you were just speaking, was it we oh no, Higgsfield,
Higgsfield. Yeah.
that it can like guess or maybe try
Yeah.
something and you're like, oh, I didn't think of that,
Yeah.
um collaboration, I guess,
Yeah. 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 It's
in a weird way.
it almost feels like, like, remember early days of Midjourney, which
Yeah.
I'm curious if Midjourney's even like doing anything nowadays, because I don't know. I know I'm not
Yeah,
paying
I was
for it
playing around with
anymore,
it quite a bit. I thought their video model was doing pretty cool things,
Yeah.
but yeah, I haven't been on it for a while
Yeah,
because
like it was like those
and,
happy
yeah.
accidents that you originally had with Midjourney. Early days of AI and stuff. It's like, I want this, and it would just like imagine, and you're like, okay, that's not what I was thinking, but that's cool. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%. And yeah, and I just noticed that OpenAI today, Sunset Sora or whatever,
Yeah.
which
Which is
I don't
crazy
think
because
is a like
what is that, 1 year?
it was a novelty thing, I think.
Yeah.
And it was like cool for everyone to play around with for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of like fell off. And I did see some stat that like month over month they've been losing like 30% to 40% of users. It's just like falling off a cliff, but yet they're still essentially paying for the entire data center to run it and all the, so it's not too surprising that
I
they
don't get
sunset
it,
it.
honestly. Like, ChatGPT was great when it first came out, but I don't think it has evolved in the same way that some of these other AI LLMs have, come up. For example,
Mm-hmm.
I was working on a project in Unreal, like 4 months ago or something like that, and I didn't know how to do it in Unreal. I was creating basically a VR game, like basically a visualizer for like a project, so that we could see what it looked like, while we were there,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in VR. So I'd never made a VR project before. So I was going through and asking ChatGPT, okay, what is this? What do I need to do? And it was just it wasn't great. I went over to Claude and started asking questions, and it's like, oh yeah, you do this and this and this and this and put this code here. And it's like, whoa, Claude knows so much more about programming and like, some of the more techie stuff, that we're doing every day. It's the same with
Yeah.
like Houdini. I'm able to give it the Houdini API and be like, I need to create a program for Houdini or a little shelf tool, that I want to build. And it's like, okay, here's what you do. And Chat couldn't handle that.
No.
I feel
Yeah.
like Chat GPT nowadays has just become, it's the boomer LLM, it's the
Yeah, I was
one,
gonna say it's like the MySpace now,
Right. Yeah, and it's just it's what people go to when they want to ask like questions. It's your first Google that you go to,
Well, what's interesting, and I noticed this about a month ago. my wife just started using Gemini instead of
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Like she's like, it's better results. It's just like, and I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah. Dave's
So
been
yeah,
really big into Gemini as well. Like, he hasn't talked much about ChatGPT or like any of that stuff, and he says he's fully on board with all of Google's tools, and that's not surprising. I mean,
yeah.
Google has all our
I mean, they
information.
have
It's got to
lots of
train it
stuff.
on.
Like I
Yeah.
was playing around a bit with Notebook LM,
Uh huh.
and that's insane.
Yeah, I haven't messed
Just
with that.
generating like slide decks or explainer videos, and it, it- it's a really interesting way to like, and I know they kind of sell it as like throw information at it to learn it.
Yes.
Like I'll make you a podcast so you can listen to it on the way to school and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. And so I've like thrown a lot of stuff in there just to understand it,
Yeah.
or like figure out how to explain it better,
Yeah.
So things like that are super cool. But
So you posted a couple days ago this whole little thing on your Profanity Creative Instagram, about these different like Claude agents that you created in order to like, kind of like maximize the amount of, stuff that you're doing in a day, you know?
mhm.
Talk to me a bit more about that and how you're incorporating some of these AI agents to help you run your business on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, so dude, I'll tell you this. I had no freaking clue it would like catch some wildfire like it did. Like I
I'm
can't tell
sure,
you how
yeah.
many freaking DMs I've gotten. And like again, I'm not sure if gotten's a word, maybe that's a Vermont word, but like um but it's crazy. And the reason I even made that post,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to be like, oh, swipe for more content
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever the
yeah,
thing is, but I made the post because I was digging through Claude co-work stuff and like just trying to find ways to like use it in a creative business, and there's
yeah,
just nothing. There was nothing out there, and it was like, oh well, you can do this to like spoof the spam callers, and it's like, okay,
yeah,
I don't what cool, I guess,
yeah,
um so anyway, I started on this kind of deep dive, right? And this is right when like Open Claw
yeah,
was released. Shout out to Casey Hupke and even Liam Clisham, who were
yeah,
like saying like, "Yo, I've got Open Claw running. It's learning Houdini. It's learning Blender. It can do this. It can do that." I'm like,
yeah.
"Oh my god, I need to look at this." So as I was about to like pull a trigger on like a Mac Mini or whatever for Open Claw, Claude had released. There you go.
It's not. Notice
Claude
it's not
just
plugged in. I've had it for like
not
6 months,
plugged
and I haven't. Go ahead.
But Claude had just released Cowork. It was like whatever in beta for like paid subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
And Cowork essentially allowed you to utilize connectors where you could connect Claude to Notion, Gmail, whatever. Security
Mm.
risk, sure. But if you kind of sandboxed it,
Yeah,
right, and kept it very narrow and very narrow permissions, I was like game to at least try it. In the fact that it was released from Anthropic, it
yeah,
still says like we're not liable, yada yada. But
yeah,
like, okay, better than just like open source, open claw, where I have no idea what I'm installing, um, and so I had been using Claude just chat,
yeah.
right?
Me too.
And like all of us, we've all been using these LLMs ever since they've kind of like come out, really, like years ago, right? And I was always, paying for at least some sort of premium subscription to get the
Mm-hmm.
extra features and all of that good stuff. So when I moved over to Claude, I had started porting a bunch of my Chat GPT and Gemini stuff over
Mm.
that. I mean, literally, I've been like brain dumping in
Yeah,
for the past, what, 3 or 4 years, right? And so I had this kind of like brain of like my business that I had been bouncing ideas and projects and how should I do this? What should
yeah,
I price this? This is how I built things. Yeah. Like the whole shebang. Essentially exported that brain, brought it into Claude. And when they allowed co-work and brought co-work to everybody, you could park that brain essentially in a project called Profanity, make all these quote unquote plugins,
uh huh,
which are essentially agents
yeah,
that will reference that brain,
Mm.
and then those like agents can connect to Figma, can connect to Slack, can connect to Gmail, to Notion, and all that. So what I ended up doing was, rather than making one agent that can do it all,
Mm-hmm.
I made a producing agent,
Uh-huh.
I made a biz dev agent,
Yeah.
I made a copywriting agent, I made a social media agent, and I made a IT agent. And so I gave each one very specific instructions to, like producer, your role is to,
Yeah.
proposals, bids, communication, keep us on schedule, blah blah blah, just like you would onboard anyone,
Yeah.
right? But instead of like them taking, a week or two to get up to speed and understand your brand voice, your tone,
Mm-hmm.
how things operate, it just works.
And it's all just
They're up
reading
to
off of
speed.
this one brain that you just dumped everything in. That's
Hmm.
smart. That is smart.
And so essentially in that brain, I have like transcripts of all the podcasts I've been on, so it
Yeah.
knows how I talk. It's got previous decks
Uh-huh.
and, proposals and all that stuff. So it really can understand how I design things, and it can essentially replicate that in Figma and like just go build it.
Wow.
Um, Dude, it is freaking nuts. And so, like, honestly, the biggest thing, and if anyone's even like remotely interested in this stuff, the first thing I would have you do is like make a virtual assistant or producer, give it give it read access. So that's an important point. I
Yeah.
have not given write access to anything in like Gmail or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's all read only. It can write in Notion, which is fine because that's kind of my like repository.
Yeah.
Um, but make a producer who understands your project workflow and all that, which is also great because as freelancers and small studio people, right? Like, we all do things a little bit
Yeah.
differently. We
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
kind of get to the end at at the same end result, but being able to have all these employees, quote unquote, just already understand the process,
Yeah.
it's like, all right, sweet. It's like plug and play. So the producer understands everything that I'm doing and have done, and I've given it read access to my profanity email, which is not like open.
Yeah.
It's still a very dedicated, it can only read certain things. But I can say, hey, client XYZ, we talked about 6 months ago. They went cold. I want to follow up with them. They'll have a whole email written, a plan, all this stuff. And I just go in, I read it, I edit it. I essentially react to that first draft
Yeah.
and put stuff in and whatever. And boom, it's done.
Yeah.
And it's written in my voice. It's written in my like kind of brand tone that's, a little bit not too formal,
Yeah. Yeah.
um and so it can do all that, but also the biggest thing that I've really found is like every morning it sends me a DM on Slack
Mm-hmm.
with like a daily briefing.
That's so
Here are
cool.
the emails that came in yesterday, here are the responses, priority list, you should respond to this and this first thing. Check this out. Okay, project updates. This is in, final review.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, boom, boom. And it's just like a complete menu schedule of all your tasks for the day.
Yeah.
And like, as someone like me who's like constantly task switching and
Yeah.
just going and trying to create in the middle of it all, just having that as a reference every morning is phenomenal, you
Amazing.
know?
Yeah.
So I've been really going deep in this, and it's really insane, Matt. Like, my biz dev, I was like, I want to get into more golf projects.
Uh-huh.
So it went to work for 2 hours, came back to me with a 20-page PDF of
Wow.
tier one, tier two, tier three, of tier one clients, tier two clients, tier three clients, why they're in certain tiers,
Mm-hmm.
what their marketing spend is if it can find it, what their capital raise is if they can find it, the CMO, head of marketing, like
Wow.
all done. And it just like did that when I slept,
That's amazing.
And so like as someone who's essentially, I mean, I'm doing this already,
Yeah.
and I honestly just don't have the capital to hire someone.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I can essentially delegate all these kind of busy work tasks, and I don't want to say like biz dev is busy work, but like just go research stuff so I can at least come
Yeah.
back and like have something to look at,
Yeah.
and start somewhere. That has been like an insane game changer. Oh God, I didn't mean to say that. Bleep that out. But even like I created a new skill for my producer today. That's project post-mortem,
Okay. I like
right?
that.
So it's like I never do those, but
Mm-hmm.
it gave me an 8-page post-mortem about like everything that went good, things that could go better, what we could do next time. And these are things that I've been wanting to do forever. I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
And when I do have the time, I don't want to fucking do it. I want to
Yeah.
like go watch a movie,
Yeah. Right.
or like, so, just doing things like that, I think are, at least for myself and people like me, like right now, I think it's super powerful and it's really worth looking into. And dare I say, my saving grace around it all is it's really not doing the creative.
Yeah.
It's doing everything else. Like I
That
can
was.
throw ideas at it,
Yeah.
and I have an assistant creative director, whatever
Yeah.
type person that I can bounce ideas off.
Yeah.
But like I'm still making all the stuff. I'm
Yeah.
still the one on the client calls. I'm still the one sending the emails and making the connections. So like
Yeah.
it's doing 80% of the grunt work,
Yeah.
you know?
That's something that I appreciated about your Instagram posts. It's like you're going through it and you're kind of giving this like teaser. It's like, oh yeah, I implemented this and I implemented that and I implemented this. And it's like, it's making me so much more efficient, but I'm also doing all the work, I'm
Yeah,
still doing all of the creative work. It is still me. It is still my voice, but I
100%.
have offloaded this to a bunch of basically computer employees,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like what is AI really good at? It's synthesizing data, it's scraping data. So
100%.
it's like
Yeah.
all of that stuff is like made like that's a producer role ish, right? That's a
Yeah.
biz dev. That's a finance person,
Yeah.
like there's just so many things that relate to data. And I also don't want to like, shout from the mountaintops that like this is like the new
Yeah.
thing for studios, blah blah. It's not. It's the new thing for someone like me who's wearing 5 different hats in my
Yeah.
business,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because like that's fun, but I also, don't want to be biz deving all day and then like sign off and now go to work and actually
Yeah.
do the animations,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like so that's been really interesting. And honestly, the thing is that every day there's something new. Like they just released, now you can do it on your phone, and
Yeah.
now Claude Cowork can take control of your entire computer, right?
Dangerous.
And like before, it could take control of Chrome,
Yeah.
right? It could like do stuff. And you've seen around the web, like people are posting on GitHub. There's these things called like MCPs, which are
Yeah.
like Model Context Protocol or whatever.
Yeah.
So like you can plug Claude Cowork and Claude Code into Houdini,
Yeah.
right? And say, set up a smoke sim, get it ready to render with like optimized render settings. Yeah, like it's not going to get you like the final product, but it
Sure.
will get you like the initial setup, and you
Yeah.
go in and start iterating.
Yeah.
And there's one for Cinema, there's one for Blender.
Yep.
I mean, and like I don't want that per se,
Yeah.
but like it's just wild what this stuff can do already.
It's interesting because it almost makes your job then, because here's the bottom line. The computer can do this stuff, but it's got to take some sort of input. There always has to be someone giving input in order for it to do the job. For example, right now I'm doing the bite off that I've talked about the past few weeks, which is the big Nintendo competition, and I've got one more week, and I've been using Claude heavily to do a lot of my assembly code because I don't know assembly that well, and so it's easy. Claude is not creating this game for me. It's helping me code the back stuff, but I'm the one who has to say, this does work, this doesn't work, let's implement this idea and such like that, instead of like it being like, oh, you want to create the game? All right, I'm going to do it all myself,
Yeah, like, here it is.
Right.
And you're like, okay, well, that's not what I wanted, so,
Right. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's great. It's like, it's great that these MCP
MCP,
yeah, can start creating Houdini things or Cinema 4D or Blender things, but it's like, you're still the creative director. You're the one who's saying, I want this to happen and I want this to happen. And knowing the programs well enough to where it's like, I'm going in and I'm making these changes. I'm testing these things. It's not like, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm hoping this is right. It's like, no, I know what I'm doing. Yeah.
The last thing I want to be is like completely hands off and the thing just run, like, no, like, that is freaky.
Yeah.
Like,
And
no.
it takes all the joy out of what we're doing, which is art. We're creating art. And whether, it's like, you'll hear people poo-poo the idea of like, oh, AI art isn't art, which, yeah, you're just putting in a prompt and it's, throwing out an image, fine, whatever. Maybe that's not art, but it's like, through stuff like this and being able to iterate and use your own creative ideas and stuff like that, it is art, there's
It's
an art to it,
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that I've found, like, outside of just kind of more of the busy work stuff, was creating all these like little fun apps.
Yeah.
Like, I made a
so
project
much.
archiver that can like go through and clean out all the cache files. It has a UI, so I select what I want, what I don't, where it needs to clean and whatever. But it took like, and it will then bring it in and zip it and put it on a separate drive. And it was able to take like a 80 gig folder and make it like 30 gigs. And it's like, sweet, thank you. That saves me a bunch of space on Dropbox, and just fun little apps like that. Like I made like a brief generator because a lot of like clients will come to me and like have the idea and want to do a 3D video but have no idea how to brief it in, or so it's like they can go through that. I've got a pricing tier type thing that I've made just for like internal reference, and even just playing with data, right? I made this one website that pulls in live weather from the top of Mount Mansfield here in Vermont, our highest peak, and makes a generative snowflake based on the temperature, the wind direction, the wind speed, the amount of precipitation, like all this stuff. And so like it's a one of one every time you kind of refresh it. And like, I want to port that into Houdini and then like figure out a way to like render that. You know, there's so many things to make.
It's funny because, and I've mentioned this story before, but it's like the other day I accidentally rendered some Houdini files and they had a really long name and I needed to rename all my files. So instead of going online and being like, I need find me a renaming software, blah, 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 that'll do this, I literally one-shotted it in Claude and was like, I need this in order to rename these, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, all right, here you go, throw this into Visual Studio and build it. And sure enough, there it was. And it is now like one of my go-to. I have done it. I've used it many, many times where it's like, I just need to rename a whole bunch of JPEG files in order, and stuff like that. And it's fantastic. Being able to,
even just like making little shortcuts in Windows for like, right click, you convert to like a high res H.264.
Yeah. One of my favorite things that I did, I made a shelf tool in Houdini because the thing that I missed most about moving from Cinema 4D to Houdini is the solo button, and being able to like solo just that one node. So I created, it was really easy. I did it in maybe 20, 30 minutes where it's like, okay, I want to be able to take the selected node, I hit the solo button, it changes the icon to on, it stores the state of all the nodes, but only turns on that one. And then I click it off and it restores the state of all the other nodes. It's like, dude, that's such a useful tool.
Totally. And I mean, and that's what I love about it too is like, we're not Pixar, we're not
Yeah.
ILM with TDs that can like spin up a script for us to go do the thing. It's like,
Right.
but now I kind of have someone.
Yeah. 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 I
And so it's pretty wild, man. Like I think this is, I'm still just a believer that like if we can optimize our time to spend more time on the creative, then I think that's kind of the road and the lane I'm starting to go down.
yeah.
And honestly, through the amount of like DMs and emails and responses I got from that,
Mhm.
I posted on LinkedIn too, like there people are very curious about it and not necessarily talking about it publicly yet, but
Yeah.
like it's the cat's out of the fucking bag. Like
I
we're here.
agree.
Like it's
I agree.
and so yeah, I don't want it to take jobs, but I want it to enhance my job.
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of like the mentality a lot of us have had since kind of the beginning with a couple daggers of FUD in there, but like
Yeah.
but for the most part, yeah, I just firmly believe that we're gonna have a crazy like upheaval in employment and jobs and
Mhm.
stuff like that. But once that dust settles, I imagine like the productivity and just everything will like fire up. But like, I mean, that's probably 10,
Yeah.
15 years out. I don't know.
It's
But
going to be interesting to
um,
see how much like for example, let's jump back to NFTs back in the
mhm,
day. It was at the very early stages of the AI art,
mhm,
generative art world. So you
right.
started getting these AI or these whatchamacallit, the PFPs or whatever,
Mhm,
that were just using AI art to do it. And it's like, oh man, now we're getting all this AI art in NFTs. It's kind of ruining the space,
mhm.
along with it just, kind of being a rug pull for a lot of times, you know, but it's like that became a point in which we had to like really look close and be like, is this AI, is this legit, is this whatever? And you start seeing people on Instagram posting renders and stuff, and it's like, oh, did you actually render that? Well, no, I prompted this,
Mhm,
and it's like
mhm,
it was my ideas, but I prompted it, and it's like, okay, so now we've
mhm.
got to do that. We got a big influx of that. I think we're going to get with the whole Claude and the whole, like, all of the programming stuff. We're going to get a huge influx of just like really crappy programs,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
over the next
That
couple
was
of
the
years.
conversation. That was the conversation on the MoGraph Slack today of just
Yeah,
like how much crappy vibe coded stuff is just going to be out there now
a hundred
and
percent.
whatever.
Yeah,
And
it's interesting
yeah.
if you go to AE Scripts. Like, don't get me wrong, I love AE Scripts. I love I believe it's Larry who runs it. Lloyd. Sorry, Lloyd.
Lloyd.
Yeah. I love Lloyd. He's a great guy. But I have noticed an increase amount of like, this is AI based After Effects stuff. This is AI based
Yeah.
C4D stuff, and it's like, okay, they're charging $125 when I'm paying $25 a month for Claude, or $20 a month for Claude, and I could probably spend a weekend making that exact same plugin.
You could probably spend 10 minutes.
Yeah, some of them, yeah. So,
Yeah, no, it is crazy and I do I think just the democratization of all of these tools, right? Like
mhm,
we see it as animators and we're like, oh man, like anyone can make an animation now. Look
yeah,
at Notebook LM, like throw it in there. You got a whiteboard animation
yeah,
explainer video in like 5 minutes. And like, cool. Everyone can do that. We're vibe coding programs and stuff.
mhm.
And I'm sure like programmers are looking at us like, oh my God, like look at these,
I know they're not
dweebs,
even reading the code; they're
Yeah,
just
exactly.
submitting it. Yeah,
But I feel like this is just kind of happening across the board.
yeah,
And so like it kind of gives me hope that like yeah, Jimmy can, prompt something in Midjourney or Notebook. That's great. But the people who really want the stuff and the goodness, they're
yeah,
gonna go to Barton,
yeah,
right? They're
yeah.
gonna go to ABC. They're gonna go, and so like I just still think like the buyers, the premium buyers are still going to be buying premium things.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree, and I think a lot of them are going to get more comfortable with the idea of using AI, especially if that's able to like improve the quality or the amount that they can throw at a job and keep the budgets the same, you know? So it's
Totally.
like if a client's spending $200,000 on a thing that if they, that and they're able to add in enough AI stuff to it that would counteract it being $400,000 if we were doing it, it's like, okay, cool. That's great. Let's do that.
Well, and like, and if anything, it seems like the timelines and the deliverables are getting more and the timelines are getting smaller.
Yeah.
The budgets are also starting to shrink a bit too,
Mm-hmm.
but within reason and all that. And I tried my best to pay attention to like things that are happening in our industry, and I
Mm-hmm.
see there are quite a few studios using AI
Oh,
right
yeah.
now and
Yeah,
doing
yeah, yeah.
AI jobs and doing this, and it has its place,
Yeah.
right? And they can, riff off things or whatever, and maybe use a few assets or a scene or whatever it may be. But like, I don't know. I just feel like not not using these tools, not really getting my hands dirty with them is not a good use of my time. And
Yeah.
it's happening so fast that, I mean, shit, in 3 months, if you're not touching certain things, like you're already like a year behind people,
Yeah.
and like that's kind of,
Yeah.
that's not the kind of anxiety I want to feel, but I also want to be kind of prepared
Yeah.
for what's inevitably coming down the road.
Yeah, and you're at a level in your career where it's like you kind of need to know this stuff. You need to know it's like is there a better way to do this? Is there a cheaper, faster way that will cost me less time and be able to increase the amount of work that I can do and therefore charge more for it? It's like, yeah, that's
Or
something as a
yeah.
business owner, you've got to know this stuff.
Well, even starting like thinking of these different workflows, right?
Mhm.
And things where it's more of um, like coming up with the idea just to do it. And it's like, oh, wait, that worked great. And then people are like, oh, wait, you have a virtual producer who's going to send you this. And it's
Mhm.
like, oh, okay, yes, that makes total sense. I should try that. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. Yeah, just it could I could come back in 6 months and be like, this was a terrible fucking idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. But as of now, it's allowing me to be more productive. And yes, I'm going down the wormhole of like figuring it all out
Yeah.
too. But yeah, luckily I have a little bit of a lull to like kind of
Yeah.
spend some time in it now.
Yeah. It's funny.
But the one
Go
thing
ahead.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say too, just about like, I know we've been talking about lots of AI and the LLMs and all
Mm-hmm.
that, but I think what's really made the system that I built so far as powerful as it is that I have 10 years of documents and
Yeah.
pitch decks and,
Yeah.
and that's just me. I can't imagine someone like a Laundry or a Buck or a whatever. Like you start throwing 20 plus years or like Barton and ABC, like
Yeah.
you throw all of that stuff in this like central brain and have all your employees know it. I mean, that's, I think, the superpower, and that's something that really sets it apart from a lot of the other things I've experimented in the like kind of chat agent co-work kind of land.
Yeah.
And without that, I think it would not work as well.
Yeah.
So your mileage may vary.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. It's something I'd love to bring back up something that you talked about earlier where, you've got people in our industry now dabbling with coding and stuff like that, and you've got people in other industries dabbling in video, generative video and stuff like that. And it's almost like it's evening the playing field for all of us. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this person who doesn't know anything about video is going to go onto Higgsfield and prompt something and be able to use it. Us as industry professionals will be able to look at that and be like, okay, that's not great, but I see what you're trying to accomplish. We could do it better if we were, But then you've got the coders who are like, oh, this guy like vibe coded this entire plugin. Let's look at the code. Oh, this is trash, But it's like, it's evening the playing field. Yes, there's probably more slop out there, but, we're able to accomplish so much more. All of us.
100%. And like, oh, wow, that website's really cool. Did they build it in Framer, on Wix, on Squarespace?
Yeah.
Did they vibe code it? Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's a cool website.
Yeah. As long as it works and it doesn't isn't filled with malware.
Yeah, well,
which is a concern,
100%.
Especially, using OpenClaw and stuff like that. I think I saw this video today where it's like the top app on OpenClaw was a Elon Musk like tweet generator or something that everyone was downloading, but if you left it long enough, as soon as your computer like went to sleep, it would secretly install like code that would steal your identity and stuff like that. It's like,
perfect,
bro. I can only imagine how the Microsofts and the Apples are responding to stuff like this, where it's like, we're gonna have to up our game on antivirus stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I was thinking about it today. It's like, okay, well, how do you make sure that a human is using your mouse and not, something else? Oh, let's create a biometric mouse that only works if you're actually completing the circuit on your hand. It's like, I don't know. Are we gonna have to have safeguards that way?
Well, don't they have the apps that like wiggle your mouse?
Yes,
like,
they do.
When you were working from home or
yeah, it's like,
no, what 100%. The security stuff is definitely a risk, and it's also brand new, and like things are moving very fast. And one thing, I didn't buy a Mac Mini, right? But I have my Mac Air laptop, and I use it when I travel just to remote into my main machine here, and so I have it all sandboxed on that.
Oh,
like,
cool.
It's not on my work machine. It's not. Like, I can talk to it via Slack and Discord and share things.
That's
and,
cool.
Whatever. But, I have it pretty locked in, like, this one computer, right? And, like, it's only got access to these certain things. And sure, if someone wants to hack me, go for it. But, like, you're not going to find anything cool.
Yeah. Do you?
But, 100%. The OpenClaw and all that, like, really just, like, sparked a whole new, like... not revolution, but a whole nother like leg of this AI thing. And what I really do think is so cool about that is like OpenClaw was like some dude's personal project.
Really? I didn't know
like,
that.
He just like, it was like a group of friends or something. They just like made it, put it up on GitHub, and it just like took off.
Wow.
And then, weeks later, Claude's releasing something, I know OpenAI is closely behind, like it's just it's so interesting to see how fast this stuff's happening and how these like companies really need to respond almost in real time to release features and keep up with the competitors and stuff, but what a time to be alive.
What a time indeed. I like to think about it this way. I love Star Trek. I've always loved Star Trek. Next Generation, I grew up on that. And I absolutely loved the world that Star Trek is based in. One of my favorite things was whenever they would talk to the computer and be able to like figure out problems. It's like Geordi's there in engineering trying to figure out problems, or the one where Dr. Crusher is all alone and she's talking to the computer and the computer's like, the size of the universe is only the size of the ship, or something like that. And it's like you're figuring out problems by asking the computer the same thing. That was always what I wanted to get to. And when I discovered Claude and being able to code and talk to a LLM in a way to where
like
I
code
could
through conversation.
Yes. Yeah. And create programs that would help ease my everyday life. It's like this was a huge change in the way that I think about the world now, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's been also so fun like doing this of like outside of business stuff,
Yeah.
applying it to like personal life. Like I made a travel agent that
Oh,
like
that's so
goes and like
cool.
scrapes the web. You know, it's not just like a web search. It will go and work for hours and then it builds a UI dashboard on Netify or whatever it is,
Yeah.
deploys that, and then I have like a whole beautiful dashboard that I can send to my wife, and it's like the top 5 Airbnbs, the top this,
Yeah. That's a
it is,
really good
it's so
idea.
crazy.
That's a really good. See, and
And
you know,
also
it's like
like
it's
we're
crazy
like
because
car
like
deals.
businesses, that was their thing. That is like Expedia or Hotwire or something like that. It's like these are the things that they're doing, you know, and now you can
Hmm.
create your own little app that does the exact same thing. That's what I'm telling you, man. I think a lot of businesses are going to go out of business because it's going to become so easy to create, these types of services.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. And like you, if you pay attention to the stock market at all, you've seen all the SaaS companies absolutely tanking over the last quarter.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's fine. They're not, Figma's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Adobe's not going anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Like as good as you can get at Claude, you're not going to like prompt After
Yeah.
Effects
You're not going to one
replacement, you
shot
know?
After Effects.
So, but
If
I
only.
think it really will like start eating away at certain
Yeah.
plug-in things or like and all that. But the other thing I do like about it is that you can build it tailored for what you need it to do.
Yes.
Not like shoehorn this plug-in to do the thing that you hope you can get out of it.
Yep.
It's just like, no, you want it, I want it to do this.
Yeah. I totally agree.
And if it doesn't hit it, then you keep going, you get error logs or whatever. And like even the other day in the Houdini channel on MoGraph Slack, there was a whole conversation about cops,
Yeah.
right? And like there's all these nodes and it's so hard to like really understand what they all do. So I just like grabbed the documentation, threw it into Claude, say, hey, can you make a dashboard for this? And it within 5 minutes, I had a dashboard with clickable nodes and all the stuff that gave you like a quick little bio, or you could brought you to the actual documentation. And just to
Amazing.
have like a little node library like that you can just look over and click and oh,
Yeah.
like so nice, you know?
That's super cool. Like that's that brings up a really interesting point, because it's like, okay, now my mind's going. It's like, where would you iterate from that? It's like, okay, my biggest problem with Houdini is I know how to do it in C4D, but I don't know what the nodes are in Houdini, you know? And it's like, okay, what if I
Exactly.
can categorize all of these and then say, okay, here's my database, Claude. Tell me which one does this. Done, you know?
100%. Or like you essentially make a little wiki for yourself and you're like cloner and it's like copy to points,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Use mops.
Yeah. And honestly, I tried to run the whole documentation through it and it was like caught fire. Like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
sorry, this is way too much.
I've tried that too.
But I think if I went chapter by chapter, like,
Yeah.
like cops, sops, lops, like all the stuff one by one and how to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, Side Effects has great
They
documentation
really
already.
do.
It just like lays it out differently.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That is one of my favorite things about Side Effects is I can throw down a node, I can right click and say help, and it literally brings me up to everything. C4D was
Yeah.
like that for a while, but it's like it became like missing, at a certain point. And
Yeah.
I love that like a lot of developers have incorporated those as well. So it's like if you open up mops and you right click and help, it'll bring up documentation as well. If you bring up like Paradigm or Axiom or something, it will also bring up, it's kind of like, hey, let's stick within this workflow and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just gonna see if I could send it to you real quick, but yeah. I mean, I'm learning a whole lot of like deployment stuff and all this
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot of like web dev things, which
Yeah.
is cool, but like, yeah. Um,
Do you ever get frustrated with Claude and start cussing it out? I have a few times.
I haven't got there yet,
Okay.
but yeah.
Try programming in assembly code.
Oh God, yeah. There
Having
you
it
go.
do breaks instead of jumps and stuff like that. It becomes incredibly frustrating.
I was gonna say it might jump out at you and start
Uh,
like punching you and like,
yeah.
wait, why are you doing this to me? But
Yeah.
yeah, I sent you the link so
Oh,
you can,
cool. Yeah,
post
let me
it or
see if I can
whatever. Put it in the notes.
let me see if I can open
Um,
this. Hold on.
but yeah, I'm just finding lots of uses and just things that should not, are not the actual creative process, right? Just it's all the
Yeah.
stuff that I just don't like doing, like
So that
the
brings you
social
all.
media
Man, this is
scheduling
so
and
cool.
calendars and you know,
Image operators, noise and patterns. Dude, that's so cool. This is really cool.
right?
My only thing would
And so
my
like,
only advice would be to center it instead of making it left justified.
yeah, I mean, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just little things like that, right? And you're like, all right, go do that. Or I've also used where you can have, Claude in the browser there and you're doing it and it's making all the adjustments.
Yes. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
won't
Yeah.
save it. It can't push it from there,
Yeah.
but it can write the CSS and whatever,
Yeah,
and you can
that's
copy
what
it
I
in.
did
But
with. I created it was a Nest Music Maker app, where it was entirely, web based and stuff like that, and you could export out your code that the Nintendo would actually read. It's really
ugh.
cool.
Dude, I mean, the same thing. Like Framer's got a terrible video player, and
Uh
I was
huh.
like, I want to make a new player for Framer.
Yeah.
And so I spent a half hour and now I can upload stuff. I can put any link in there. I
Yep.
can whatever. It's all branded and colored exactly how I want it. Like it's just yeah. I'm a true fan and if you pay attention to the Slack over the last few days, I've been
Yeah.
in the AI channel talking it up a lot. But I mean, I have to say that my big catalyst to even diving into this was Casey Hupke
Yeah.
and him like being like, dude, this thing's learning Blender.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I need to figure
Yeah.
this thing out.
Yeah. I know.
And I always that's one thing that I do love about the Slack and kind of the hive mind that we
Hmm.
have there is like there are so many people playing with things
Yeah.
and doing interesting things and like it's I don't know, it's pretty fun to pay attention to that stuff and then like have that kind of spark something in your head and
Hmm.
inspiration to go try it, and yeah, I mean it's exciting.
Yeah.
I didn't intend this to be all about AI, but like
Nah,
it's
I had a feeling we'd talk about it, 'cause
yeah.
it's an exciting time. It's like I don't know. This is really, other than like the first time I saw Midjourney creating like images and stuff. This is the first real time where I've been like, okay, I see the good parts now. I see how it
Yes,
can make
yes,
my life better, you know?
fully agree. I thought I like it was the mid journey moment for me. It
Mhm.
was the first time using ChatGPT, and then is the first time using Claude, and how accurate it was,
Yeah.
and how accurate it has stayed.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fancher
Um,
said no one makes motion graphics anymore. We just dev custom tools now.
hell yeah,
Dude,
Mark, that's right.
it's crazy,
He was part of that convo earlier too.
dude, the amount of tools that we have made that internally that make our lives just exponentially easier, it's like stuff that used to be painful to do
Hmm.
is now just a couple clicks, and it's like,
Totally.
all right, I'll take
I
that.
mean,
I'll take that
I
life
love
any
like
day.
just making fun tools like that,
Yeah.
and heck, if I use it once and I spent 10 minutes on it, it was worth it.
Yeah, right? And if you use it more than once, then it's like, okay, cool, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And yeah, I mean, I've just really enjoyed, I've really enjoyed it's how should I say this? Do you remember like when you first started getting into like animation, motion graphics and
Mhm.
stuff like that, and you found YouTube and it was like this endless library
Yeah.
of knowledge that you could dive into and you're like, oh my God, this whole new world.
Yeah.
I'm getting similar vibes from like this of like, oh my God, like, okay,
Yeah.
what can we do with this? Like
Yeah.
this is really cool,
Yeah.
you know? And
It's like the ceiling has been completely blown apart, and like what you are capable of now is exponentially more, all because of this one tool.
Yeah, and I hope no one holds me to that standard.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
No, 100%. And I'm really excited that like there are quite a few artists starting to experiment with this stuff,
Yeah.
because I love just like learning and like comparing notes and
Mm-hmm.
like having these Slack threads and just things happening, and like all of us, like, I don't want to say vibe coding, but like
I
essentially
mean,
doing that all
yeah.
together, and
Yeah.
like bouncing ideas off each other, and like, oh, look at what I just built. Oh, I'm doing this, and oh, I'm doing that. It's like, oh man, things that I didn't even think of,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, and here's the thing: as 3D artists and motion designers and all that, most of us are pretty damn technical, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yes,
we
yes,
can
yes.
we can fumble our way through pretty much any program. So the fact that like a lot of our like kind of technical artistry skills are starting to like apply outside of a canvas
Yeah.
is really interesting to me,
Mm-hmm.
and what people think to do, can do, and whatever, that they just never had the ability or tools to do beforehand. Like, uh, make your own custom travel agent. I mean,
Yeah.
a year ago, cool. That would have been like a 3-year personal project to
Yeah.
really dive in and
Yep.
figure it all out,
Yep.
And so just things like that. And now with the web being all API this, API that, and
Mm-hmm.
there's just there's so much connectivity,
Yeah.
and
I
so
agree.
like let's see where we can take it.
I agree. All right, Mark, thanks. So I know you got to run, but thanks so much for being on the show. I really do appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and thanks to everyone
fun.
for tuning in. Make sure and join us. We've been doing our Thursday live streams. We're going to keep those up. I really enjoy the Thursday live streams. It's so chill. It's it's our weekly free for all where we explore all things MoGraph, video games, Houdini, Blender. I've been doing the video game for the past couple weeks. I was out last week on a shoot, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, we're gonna continue on. I got 1 week left before Bite Off ends. So I might be doing music this week, which will be
Oh, there you
fun.
go.
So we might be writing
So
music.
this doesn't apply to that, but there's an MCP thing for Ableton where you can just
Really?
prompt, and it will
Oh.
lay out the tracks. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You got to try out my Nest Music
Um,
Maker. It's pretty cool. It's just 4 tracks,
Yeah.
and but it's pretty neat. Yeah, and also if you haven't done it already, make sure to sign up for your very own MoGraph.com account. It's a one-stop shop for everything a motion designer needs. Demo, reels, projects you worked on, post jobs, apply for jobs, digital goods. And I would like to say, if there's any features that you would like to see from MoGraph.com, let me know. We've got a lot of users. I think we've got like 1,400 users, but they're not super active. I would love to see more people active. So I would love to know what you would like to see. How can we improve MoGraph.com? How can we make it better? How can we make it better for the community? That's really what I want to know. Now that I got Cloud, I can do anything for the community.
There you go. Post your vibe coded project.
Right? Yeah. So, Mark, where can people find you online if they want to find you?
Yeah, profanity.tv. On Instagram, we're profanity.creative. And then you can always feel free to shoot me an email, mark@profanity.tv, or find me on socials, LinkedIn, whatevers. I do want to just give a quick shout out to the whole Australian motion design family. I know you guys all lost a close friend in Will this past week, so thoughts and prayers are with you all, and sounds like a solid stand-up dude. So sorry that y'all are going through that.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. All right. And on
sorry
that
to end it on a bad,
no, it's all right.
like a note like that, but
yeah,
we're all here for you.
We love our Australian motion design group. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks, Mark, for coming on the show. Until next time, I'm Matt, and you are Mark, and we are out of here. Later, yo.
It's pretty good, I guess.